20 moments that were not supposed to happen at WrestleMania 41. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 1. Yeeting goes wrong. The Spanish announce table joined in on the yeeting ahead of Jey Uso vs Gunther, and hilariously one of the commentators had his headset almost knocked off his head. Both the respective commentators found the incident hilarious, and it goes to show that yeeting isn't for the faint-hearted. Number 2. Challenges. WWE's production team getting wrestlers' nameplates and tags wrong was definitely a theme of the weekend. Ahead of Jey Uso's formal introduction, his nameplate would state Challenges instead of Challenger, but this was a nameplate for the tag title challenges, and was only picked up on by eagle-eyed viewers watching at home. Number 3. The Survivor Series transition. And when Jey Uso won the world title, all fans watching at home could focus on was that WWE's production team thought that the show was Survivor Series as opposed to WrestleMania. As replays and main event Jey's win were shown to the audience at home, WWE cut to Survivor Series War Games graphics numerous times. It was unclear how this exactly happened, but it's possible that it occurred simply due to a member of the production team pressing the wrong button. This will be the type of botch that WWE looks to edit out with immediate effect, and it's likely that any edits of this kind will be issued within the next few days. Number 4. The crowd leaving. WWE have to be deliberate and strategic with any wide-angle shots of the crowd. Unfortunately, they completely messed up before the tag title match between the War Raiders and the New Day. As both teams were making their respective entrances, WWE cut to the crowd and hundreds of fans were leaving to go to the bathroom or grab refreshments. The match was a certified bathroom break, and the negative reactions to the match itself certainly suggest that the fans made the right call by choosing this particular match as the match that they would leave their seat for. Number 5. Ivar's rough landing. Now, Ivar's moonsaults are usually immaculate, however his moonsault was heavily botched at WrestleMania 41. Ivar managed to land on Kofi Kingston's legs, and Kingston looked to be in total agony. As everyone knows, a moonsault should land on the wrestler's chest or stomach region, and landing elsewhere can lead to a serious injury. Thankfully, there are no reports that Kingston was hurt, so he looks to be okay, and he was able to continue the match as planned. Number 6. Pat McAfee doesn't watch the show. Pat McAfee is often called out for failing to know about prior WWE lore and continuity, and this was the case last night. During the Naomi vs Jade Cargill match, McAfee falsely claimed that Naomi ran over Cargill with a car. In reality, Naomi pushed Cargill onto the windshield of a car, and Michael Cole was forced to correct McAfee in one of the most awkward moments of the entire broadcast. Whilst an awkward moment, Cole did the right thing. Ignoring McAfee's slip-up would have been an insult to the viewer's intelligence, and it was best that Cole politely corrected McAfee and then the show moved forward. Number 7. A botched BFT. A Jacob Fatu vs LA Knight was one of the most surprising hits of the weekend, as both men worked extremely well together. One of the most ambitious spots of the match saw LA intercept a Fatu moonsault into a BFT, but sadly LA failed to make a full connection with the move, but thanks to excellent camera work, it was hard to know that the move was fully botched. Don't get us wrong, this was a complex spot that was always going to be hard to get completely right. It was appreciated that both men gave it a go, and the crowd erupting for the spot was a sign that they got enough of the move to avoid it being a total disaster. Number 8. Dana White. WWE were cut to UFC's Dana White in the crowd, and it led to an awkward moment, as White clearly looked like he didn't even want to be there, and he was heavily booed by the live crowd. Weirdly, just minutes later, WWE would decide to redo the exact same segment with White in the crowd, and this time, he looked happy to be there. It's likely that WWE redid the spot as they wanted a visual of White looking on with enthusiasm, not utter regret. Number 9. Attendance lies. Shawn Michaels would make a special appearance at WrestleMania to announce the attendance. For night 1, HBK claimed that over 60,000 fans were in attendance, but according to sources such as WrestleTix, this isn't correct, and the show was not 100% sold out. Additionally, fan photos from those in attendance showed numerous empty seats, and even entire sections of seating had curtains over them to hide them from the camera. WWE lying about their attendance numbers isn't anything new, and it's a shame that this trend has continued into TKO's era of WWE. Number 10. Calling spots. Now, the Tiffany Stratton vs Charlotte Flair match had a ton of issues. Both women were not on their finest form throughout the match, and there were endless spots that went wrong. There was a point in the match where both women just began to call spots, and this greatly exposed the semi-main event of night 1 of WrestleMania 41. One of the key spots in the match saw Flair deliver a natural selection from the top rope, but it was heavily botched. Flair barely got any of it and it looked terrible. The WWE commentary team failed to cover up for the botch, as there was not much they could say to save it, especially with Stratton selling the move as if it was delivered to perfection. Number 11. Alabama Slam. One of the final spots of the aforementioned match saw Tiffany Stratton hit an Alabama Slam onto Charlotte Flair into the middle turnbuckle. Sadly, perhaps due to exhaustion, the spot was botched and Flair basically toppled into the turnbuckle. Unlike other spots in the match, this was called out by the commentary team. There's debate on social media currently revolving around whether Flair intentionally sandbagged towards the end of the match, as a lot of the spots looked incredibly lackluster. Number 12. Screen issues. Now it seems like every major WWE show, there are issues with the big screens. According to fans in attendance at both nights of WrestleMania, WWE intentionally turned the big screen off at various points of the show. This naturally meant that the fans at the top of the stadium couldn't see a thing. It was even said that there were chants and pops whenever WWE would turn the screen back on. There were also issues with lighting, as fans claimed that there was a light that was directed right into their seating area, and this meant that they couldn't see a damn thing. The WWE have been producing major stadium shows for decades, and there's no excuse to get these elements so badly wrong every single year. Number 13. Walter? WWE is quick to act when it comes to updating wrestlers' graphics and renders when they lose their respective title. However, when it came to former world champion Gunther, it became apparent that WWE didn't have an updated render for Gunther, so they decided to use a transparent render of his days as Walter from over half a decade ago. Fans were quick to call this out on social media, as Gunther looks completely different, and it goes to show just how much of his WWE run has spent with a title around his waist. Number 14. 450? Michael Cole is prone to owning up to his commentary errors, and this was the case with Bianca Belair vs Io Sky vs Rhea Ripley's matchup. When Belair hit a 450, Cole incorrectly labeled the move as a shooting star press. He would also no-sell a Riptide from Rhea Ripley, as he completely missed the call and didn't even mention that Ripley had just hit her finishing move. Now it was possible that Cole was exhausted from the long weekend, as outside of these errors, he did a magnificent job across the whole weekend. Number 15. Retconning the streak. For the past few years, WWE have marketed Bianca Belair as being unbeaten at WrestleMania. In reality, this isn't true, as Belair was part of the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 34 and she lost this particular match. However, when it came to Night 2 of WrestleMania 41, WWE decided to finally address the loss and state that Belair isn't in fact undefeated on the grand stage of WrestleMania. Now, this was possibly done due to Belair taking the pinfall in the subsequent match and WWE wanting to plant the seeds that Belair was going to lose the matchup. Number 16. Dirty Dom's mask. Dominic Mysterio would debut a new mask ahead of his title match at WrestleMania, and he hilariously couldn't even get it off his head during his entrance. Michael Cole, who is notoriously Mysterio's biggest hater, burst out laughing at the situation. Number 17. The first ever Fatal 4-Way. Now, as the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental title was about to begin, the commentary team stated that it's the first ever Intercontinental title Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania. However, this isn't strictly true. WrestleMania 15 saw a Fatal 4-Way for the aforementioned title, however this was labelled as a Four Corners elimination match, so perhaps this is why Cole didn't reference this particular matchup. Number 18. Is it for the title? Joe Hendry was revealed as Randy Orton's mystery opponent, and Pat McAfee was confused as to whether the match was for the TNA World title. McAfee would question if Orton became TNA World Champion if he won the match, and it was hilarious to hear Michael Cole explain that the match wasn't set for the title. McAfee was likely kept in the dark when it came to who the mystery opponent was, so this was an instance of McAfee thinking out loud. Number 19. The Crash. Stone Cold Steve Austin made a special appearance to announce the attendance, and before he could read the official number, he would ride around the ring on his trademark ATV. Unfortunately, Austin crashed into the barricade, and it appeared that a woman was hurt in the ordeal. The next time the camera panned over, Nick Khan was directly talking to the woman, so there was likely a legal issue there. Some fans are theorizing that the woman could potentially sue WWE and TKO. And before we get into number 20, an honorable mention of Bret Hart. The botches of WrestleMania weekend began at the 2025 Hall of Fame. WWE's production team would make a huge error when it came to CM Punk. As Punk was about to give his speech to induct the Bret Hart vs Stone Cold match, his nameplate would come up and it incorrectly labeled him as Bret Hart. And number 20, the PA. Now, as John Cena made his simplistic entrance for the main event, a random PA appeared out of nowhere to clear some lighting on the stage. It definitely ruined the vibe of the entrance, as all the PA had to do was wait a matter of seconds to avoid being in the shot. But there you have it, folks, 20 moments that weren't supposed to happen at WrestleMania 41. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.